G'day channel viewers, a treat spécial today, to borrow a term from AVE. Yes, I'm going to take you on a tour of the bench, and we all know the bench is, yeah, exactly. And I've decided to have a big tidy up, so I need to go through what's on the bench and obviously take some of it off the bench because otherwise there's just no room. I just made a little space for my laptop here because I was doing some research. Yeah, so I'm sure you're all wondering what's on the bench. What's he got on that bench? It's so messy. What could there be hiding on that bench? Well, I'm just going to take you through. This isn't a prepared video. I thought, why not just video what we've got, and you guys can draw your own conclusions and cast aspersions and criticize me for being such a messy sod, which I am. Obviously, right, what do we got here? Well, here we go. Look, here's my YouTube. Congratulations for 100,000 subs. No, I got this for XJet. I haven't got one for RC Model Reviews, but I've got, well over 100,000 subs on RC Model Reviews. And in fact, they don't seem to send these things out automatically anymore. You have to ask for them. So I haven't bothered asking for RC Model Reviews because let's face it, it's just a bit of a joke these days. There's so many channels with over 100,000 subs. I don't think it's worth giving out awards. There's some motors which I actually did a review of, but I didn't publish yet. So I may. It's in the editing. There's a lot of videos on the disc which need to be edited. The tests with the helical antennas, with the formers from, that place library of 3D printing stuff. Some really useful foam. I don't think we need that on the bench. Lots of wires. Look at all these wires. Now, like most people, I end up with lots of pieces of wires. You shorten ESC leads and you end up with little, fragments of wire from an ESC lead, or you get a connector and you cut some off and you've got some wire left, and sometimes you even have the connector left on it. So I know I'm going to need these at some stage in the future, so I just throw them in one of these plastic containers, and look, I've actually got multiple plastic containers of wires, nothing much more than wires, so I need to sort those a bit better. This one's actually got, here's a little video transmitter, which was one of the bodgy jobs I did for the backpack when I was just designing the circuit. So there you go. It's even a servo. There's a broken servo in there. There you go. So I should go through those. But these little bins, I've got big plastic bins that I can put those little things in, which is what I will do a little later. Now, look, here's a bit of history. One of those unbreakable 6-inch props. Remember those? Remember they were a thing after gym fans, used to break every flight. And then they brought out these unbreakable ones, and they were all the shizzle. The 5-inch ones would very rarely break, but the 6-inch ones, yeah, they break when you pushed them. So here's one anyway. What's this? A battery. Look at that. Yeah. Hey, I'll put that in the battery area. Here's a blast from the past, a PDB for a ZMR 250. My goodness, I think I used that. I was using that in a video I'm doing for my Tech Tuesdays, which I've got another one on the disc which I haven't edited yet. I'm so sorry, it should have gone up this week, but it is just, this week's been calamity. I had to meet with CAA. I've met with 2 people from CAA. Lots of interesting things happening there. I'll be telling you about those on my XJet channel because they're not really review or product related. I've got, that's the Volo. These are fantastic PDBs. They're big for mini quads and stuff there, but I did review one of their mini quad PDBs. This one I've had lying around because I've been too lazy to put it away. That's basically it. Look, Bugs 3 Mini. Now, if you're one of my Patreon supporters, you'll have seen this fly, and you'll see me try and fly it in mode 2. It's really interesting and not very successful, I might add. Bits of polystyrene. Oh, look, an Elite. Actually, I should have done the other day. Here's an Elite transmitter. I had to fix this one. She was dud. What had happened was the voltage, or the little voltage regulator, the switch mode supply had gone bang, and so I pulled one of the switch mode controllers off here. Probably won't focus now. So I pulled it off there and put it on there to fix that. So I should have videoed that, but I was in too much of a hurry. A box of resistors. This is futile. Resistance is futile. We all know that. But yeah, that's part of another Tech Tuesday coming up that I was working on. A Foxia camera. Now they're sending me, this is the Predator Micro, and they're sending me another new one to review, so I might put these side by side and review them. So I'll put this up here on the frequency counter just so that I know where it is. See, I have been, oh look, a plastic container full of plastic. No, now it's empty, so I'll use that for something. What else? Oh, this is an ESC that I was planning to use for a Tech Tuesday, but I didn't. So that can really just go in, well, that's got a lead, I'll keep it. Put it in the wire bin, which I showed you earlier. Although I do have a dead ESC bin too. Look, a long wire receiver, 72 megahertz, FMA. FMA, is it FMA? I forget. Yeah, FMA, 72 megahertz, dual conversion, long wire receiver. They were brilliant. I love these receivers. They work really well. I might do some retro stuff with old long wire, because just because it's been superseded doesn't mean it doesn't work anymore. And speaking of superseded, where did it go? It was here just a minute ago. Here's the top of it. There is somewhere the old Pixie single channel receiver, because yeah, here we go. Here we go, because I am definitely doing a retro project with a single channel receiver. It's got a relay and everything. Talk about old school. Look at that. Brilliant. That's the lid, but it's only just taped on, and I took the tape off, so I better put that somewhere safe or I will lose it, as I do with most things. I'll put it up on the shelf. We're going to be moving everything from the bench up to the shelf. Oh, don't look at the shelf. Don't look at the shelf. No, that's worse than the bench. But I'll do the bench first. Another battery. Oh, this looks a bit sad, this one, but anyway, put it in the battery pile. What else? Lids for plastic containers, which have gone somewhere and I don't know where they are. I'll put this back up there. These are for Runcam 3s, the original Runcam 3, the little sticky bit that holds the glass on the front. Runcam were nice enough to send me a few of those, because I did have to pull mine apart, and you can only get to the Runcam 3 through the glass. I think I can throw that in the rubbish. It's polystyrene. We don't need that at all. Oh, here we go. Here's my 4-way diversity controller board. I think I showed you that recently. I might have showed was my Patreon supporters. I think I showed that one. And one of the receivers. And I'm just doing up, I'm going to do a video on making up circuit boards, because I'm going to make up a few of these and I'm going to give them away to some of my Patreon supporters to test, because I'm doing a FPV relay station, and it'll be a project, and it means you'll be able to throw this in a tree and it'll give you much longer range by relaying the FPV signal back to your goggles. More foam. Ooh, everyone loves foam. That looks, I think that's out of the Fox Tech Lightning. Board camera, CMOS, I think that can really, it's got a plug I might use, but there's not really a lot of use for CMOS, the old style CMOS that goes dark when you look at the sky. Not much use for those anymore, but I should have a box full of, and another board camera. Look, I've got board cameras lying around here. Oh, here's a blast from the past. Look at that, a gem fan. It's probably a 50-30 or a 50-40. Fantastic. Actually, I've got a box of these. I bought a whole lot of them because I was going through so many of them, and then they bought out unbreakable ones. Oh, what do you do? A plastic bag. Ooh, that'll treasure that. That'll go into my inheritance pile. Another, well, no, it's not a broken servo, and it's even got a push rod on it, so that can go into the servo box. Yet another board camera. This is from the super cheapy FPV setup, I think, that I reviewed a while ago. It was really cheap at the time. It was only, less than 20 bucks, and it was the camera and the transmitter. And it was a pretty good transmitter, and the camera was okay, but it was one of those early CMOSs that went dark when you looked at the sky, so it can go in the box of things that I'll never use again. Oh, look, this is out of its box. This is some JST connectors. I'll put that up there because that's where I have a box full of those things. A lead for an FPV receiver. We don't need that. I'll put that down there. Oh, a USB thingy. Oh, look now. Oh, more. You wouldn't believe I tidied this up at any time in the last century, because here's a USB to TTL RS232 converter. And can anybody guess what this is? I want you to try and guess. Has it got writing on it? Try and guess what that is. I'll show you. There's my hand. If you can guess what that is, then you'll win absolutely nothing except the adoration of millions of other people who watch this and don't know. That is something that I used quite a bit, actually. So there you go. I shall put that up here, out of the way. We're really rolling on now. Here we go. This is a balance port connector for a thing. They use plastic wire, and the wires used to break out of these things. Now I've got to fix this. This is actually Ron's. You can see some of the wires have broken off. I'll have to get it. I've got a new plastic connector, so I'll make up a new lead. He's tried to fix this one with hot glue, didn't work, so that's going to go into the to be repaired pile, which is a really big pile, but I do get through it reasonably quickly. I repair a lot of stuff for people, bring it in. The other week I did John's Tyrannus. The USB port had broken off and I put a new USB port on it. Here's a servo. I might review that at some stage. What else have we got? Oh, bullnose props. You see, we're moving on. Went from the gem fan to these bullnose props. Things move on so rapidly around here on this bench. Here's another diversity controller. I think this was a prototype. Yes, look, see all the patch wiring on the back, all the bodge wires? That was the first version of this, but this doesn't have all the bodge wires on the back because I corrected the mistakes in the second spin of the board. There you go. Okay, here's some spare props for a little quad. I don't know which one. I think it's with a Bugs one, actually. Yeah, this is just dross. This is just stuff can go in the rubbish. Heat shrink. Everyone loves heat shrink. What have we got here? Oh, some servo arms. Probably go with that servo I just picked up before. That's a box of nuts and bolts. That's a motor. It is a, oh, that's right, this is a Foxtech motor, and I think it's buggered. I think the bearings are so shot in that thing that it just, but why don't I throw these things out? I hate throwing stuff out. I don't know, I'm a hoarder. I really am. That's why the bench is such a mess. Here is one of those USB thingies, but it's American plug. And here in New Zealand, our plugs are somewhat different. We have, in case you've never seen a New Zealand plug, let me go over here to this part of the bench. Here's a New Zealand and Australian wool mains outlet plug. See that? I'll put the camera in here. See, it has like a triangle shape and an earth lead at the bottom. These straight American ones don't plug in, even though they may be multi-voltage. And I've lost it. Oh, there it is. And even though they may be multi-voltage, they won't plug in because these are parallel and ours are canted on an angle. So you can twist them, but then they usually break. So you can get an adapter, but what a faff. That can go up here. Right. Oh, we haven't even made a dent. How long has this video been going on for? Rightio. Well, here's some instructions for the run cam split. Don't need those. They can go in the rubbish actually, because I can always find that stuff online. More bags. Yay. Already talked about that. Put it down here. As you can see, a lot of stuff here. Piece of paper. Ever shorter paper. Free sky cap, yay! They sent me this cap. I haven't worn it yet. I don't wear caps because my ears get burnt. I mean, don't yours? I mean, put in the comments. If you wear caps in the summer, don't your ears get burnt because they poke out the side? And mine do, so I tend to wear broad-brimmed hats. But caps like this are really useful for hat cam because the bill is really stiff, so you can put a piece of Velcro on there and then put your camera of choice on there, and they work really, really well. So I'm keeping that for my new hat cam when the old one wears out. Right. And this was a test rig. I did so long ago when I reviewed those JR, or the orange version of the JR DMSS receivers, and found them to be not too bad. Paper, part of the balloon project from my XJet channel. Oh, you don't need that in here. More foam. Oh, lovely. And sticky tape and all sorts of crap. Okay, here's some wires. They can go in the box I showed you earlier with all the wires in it. There you go. See, we're already tidying up. A USB to USB micro lead. That's always very valuable. I try to hang my leads over here, but as you can see, most of them have gone missing because I'm not tidy. Okay, what else? Oh, here's a breadboard. Look at this. Woo! Breadboard. This is where I breadboard up various bits and pieces. This one, that project was a long time ago, so don't worry about that. And as I say, moving on. Ooh, three-bladed props. Look at that, eh? Ooh, bullnose three-bladed. It's the history of propellers on my bench here. This is a Hobby King ESC manual. I don't think we will ever need that again. It can go in the rubbish. And I'm going to put the rubbish over there. Right, we're starting to get. I can see a bit of the bench here. Look, see a bit of the bench poking through. So we're making progress here. This is yet another one of these little cheapy cameras that can go in my little cheapy camera bin. And a 5mm lock nut. Or can never have too many of those. A video transmitter, but this one, she's broken. She's had it, but I'll keep it for spare parts. As I say, some things like the little voltage regulators are really, really useful. So that goes in my spare parts bin, which I'll create later. Manual for, what's this? XSR receiver. This is all online, so I don't need printed copies of that. Here we go. We've got a power lead for something. What's that? Oh, this is for a charger. I think we've got the barrel connector there and alligator clips on here, so that can be hung up. Here is a charger. This is Ron's charger, which I, believe it or not, I'm fixing. It has got a faulty FET in it, so I'm going to get a spare FET out of another broken charger that I found out the back, and I will repair this for Ron, and he'll have 3 chargers. Right, camera lead of some kind goes in the bin of wires, which I don't have a use for. Well, this was that little bit of composite I made for the when I was talking about the Holybro quad, which I'm showing how strength comes from the skins on these things, not the core. And that Holybro quad is still flying. I'm going to do a follow-up on that. You know, I got it really wrong about those arms. They do seem to be quite strong, so I need to make sure that Look at that. That's the Free Sky R9 Slim, which doesn't work. What do you do? Here are some batteries. These are Turnigy lipos, little tiny low capacity. They're really useful. I've used them in a couple of projects. Tiny, small, super light, and they seem to work. They haven't failed me yet. Where are we going? Oh, look. Do you need your nuts tightened? This is the tool for the job. Yes. Whoa. A pen. I was looking for that pen. Found it. And a piece of carbon strip, which I used in the bonsai, the long-range bonsai project. Speaking of which, it also is on the bench. Here we go. Can you see I put an XSR receiver? XSR? Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's an XSR receiver there, so I can test out all the flight control and other stuff, get it flying, and then when I get the new R9 Slim, or their equivalent, the small R9 receiver, I'll put it in there and we can do the long-range stuff. But that's sort of, fortunately, that project has taken a bit of a, been sidelined a bit while I'm waiting for parts. More heat shrink. I have a lot of heat shrink, and it's all over the bench. And here's a set of leads for goggles. See that? That's coming handy. I'm always hunting for goggle leads, and now I know because they've been on the bench. There you go. It's the back of Ron's charger. Fortunately, I put all the nuts in a little box, so I'm not going to lose them. And what else have we got here? A piece of tin aluminum foil. That's very handy. And we're getting really down low now. Another 5mm lock nut. Good. I'll have that. That's really handy. What have we got here? Used cable ties. Another one of those camera leads. It's getting boring now, isn't it? Just looking at camera leads and crap. Let's move over a bit to where there could be something more exciting. Another one of those USB power supplies. And you remember I was talking about the angled plugs? Well, this is an adapter, because this is a universal, well no, it's one of these things that folds up, see? How crap is that? I don't know. Anyway, so this changes from there to the type of plugs that we have in New Zealand. Sorry, I'm not pointing the camera in the right place here. Oh, come on, get in that hole. Yeah, so now I can use this in the New Zealand wall socket. And so I've got everyone ends up with millions of those. It's just an empty envelope. Oh, here we go, tri-blade. Getting better, moving through, progress through time as we get deeper in the pile. A Runcam, what is that one? Looks like a Swift, I think, Runcam Swift. Oh, getting deeper and deeper. There's a little lipo. Here's the top off an antenna, but there's nothing in it. Here's a little, what's that off? Oh, that's off something. I know that's off something because I've got it and it must be off something, but I don't know what it's off. Expo whiteboard marker. Ooh, good. And here is another one of these test jigs. This is the one I set up for testing the long-range receivers versus the standard receivers. Unfortunately, that L9R is dead, as you know. Well, 200 meters of range, useless. So that's another test that's on the back burner until I get some spares, right? A calculator. Whew. What have we got now? Moving over, the MJX Bugs transmitter, which is mode 2, so that's why I put the video up for my Patreon supporters of me trying to fly mode 2. It was a complete disaster. Okay, here we've got some surface mount components. I think they are capacitors. I'd have to measure them to find out what they are. They can go in my components bin. And what else have we got? Oh, here's the Holy Bro. That's the stretched X. What's that one? It's Copus one. That's right. I like this. It flies really well. Motors are a bit soft, a bit weak, but it still flies really nicely. It is a nice quad, and it goes in my bin of nice quads as opposed to my bin of crap. A Foxtech FPV battery strap. That's always useful. More bits of paper. We're moving along here. Oh, here's a box of O-rings. Everyone should have a box of O-rings on the bench. You can't go without those. What have we got here? This is the Max. This is the Bugs Quad battery pack. Is it puffed? No, that's good. And here's a lid off a really big plastic box. Look at that, eh? I wonder where that box went. Wherever it is. Oh, look. If I'm looking for stuff on the bench, this is what you use. Look at that. You can't go better than that. That fine detail. Macro. There you go. More heat shrink and more cables, more USB cables. There's one. There's another one. Gosh, I go out and buy cables because I can't find them and they're all on the bench. Here's a Runcam. What's that? Runcam split. Old Runcam split there. I think this one that broke. So we won't be using that. Another lead for my box of leads. And look, we've actually made a bit of a dent. We've made a bit of a dent in the bench. We keep going. Probably, I won't bore you too much because it's, you know, I've covered most of the good stuff. Balloon project stuff over here for my X-Jet balloon project. As you can see, this is the camera and the platform with everything on there. So that's coming along. Oh, there's another battery. Look at that. Oh, I was wondering where that one went. There we go. Can go in the battery pile. So that's about half the bench. Up here we've got some, it's just the case for the on my goggles, which I don't use. Got some components in here and these plastic bins there. And a Tyrannus, more bits for uncams. Yeah, so I will now go, oh, another battery. Look at that. 1000 milliamps? No, 350. That's really big for a, that's a 2-cell 350. That's huge for a 2-cell 350 battery. I thought the zippies were supposed to be small. Anyway, yeah, I've got formers for winding helical antennas here from the Thingiverse project thing. Yeah, so now I will get on with the rest of this, but I thought you might like to see what makes up the bench mess, and now you've seen some of it. There's still over there. I'm not going to go through it today because this video is probably long enough already, and you're probably bored as anything now having watched this, but this is a little bit of stuff. Now, this is the sort of video that I'd normally do for my Patreons, but I thought I'd do it for the main channel so people get a taste of what the Patreon viewers might see. And there's all my connectors, SMA connectors and all that sort of stuff, all my RF stuff there. And for stuff you probably haven't seen, here's my soldering stuff. There's all my fluxes and my rosin cores. Some, oh, where did those, oh, I've lost them now. Remember I said I had some some JSD connectors that need to go in the bin? Well, I don't know, I'll put them in there eventually. And down there we've got some wire and stuff, so yeah, not much else to see. There's my soldering iron, we've seen that. There's my hot air reflow little thing. It's also good for shrinking heat shrink. It's very good. I got this for 60 bucks on eBay. Brilliant little piece of kit. Everyone should have one. Got the oscilloscope, we've got a frequency counter, got another power supply up here. This is an analog supply, which I use to run my radio and other bits and pieces, sometimes charge batteries. There's my digital power supply down there. There's my step-down transformer here, which takes the 230 volts that we have in New Zealand down to 110, because a 110 volt version of the soldering iron is much cheaper than the 230 volts. And by buying a transformer and the soldering iron, I still saved about 40% on the cost of buying a 230 volt soldering iron. Plus this gives me 110 for the bench if I need it for other stuff that comes from America, where they only pay half price for power and only get 110 volts. There we go. And there's that lovely mug that someone did for me, remember? Brilliant, fantastic mug there. And if we go along the top here, there's a screen, which I don't actually use. There's my screwdriver set, and I do have every one in the set still. Here is, that's great, isn't it? Helicopter, fantastic. There's another charger there that needs repair. There's, what else have we got? Oh, this is, just for those who don't know, I've done some mainstream TV in the past. Ooh, or this is my blog. I have a blog which has been running since 1995, and in 2008 I was a finalist, and I think before that I actually won Best Blog in New Zealand thing. Okay, so it's still going on there. And here's a TV program I was involved in called Let's Get Inventing, and there's clips from that on my X-Jet channel, and so they give me a little plaque to say you were stupid enough to come along and take part in our television series. There's some test gear up here. I have my little signal generator, DSP based signal generator, and all sorts of other crap which I really should tidy up and get rid of, or put out to pasture. Yeah, so that is about it. And over here is just a bit of CRC, some tools. Yeah, so now you know what goes on the bench. You know what's in the mess. And yeah, if you've got comments, if your bench is messier than this, tell me. I know Dave Jones tries really hard, but he can't match me. He can't get close to my bench when it comes to mess. Perhaps because he's got more space, but he says, oh, I'm really messy. And his is like, you know, it's pristine compared to mine, but mine is having the big shake up this weekend. Clearing it out because I've got so many projects that I'm working on that I will be putting on the channel, and so I can't really work in this, can I? Anyway, that's it. Thank you. Comments, questions in the usual place. I'll do my best to answer, and this is just a bit of a different video. As I say, normally on the Patreon channel, but putting it on the main channel so you guys get to see what's going on behind the scenes as well. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.